Good morning, guys. I thought I would share my tomato sauce making with you today for anybody who's interested. I've got a few crates of tomatoes that need to be processed and turning them into a basic tomato sauce that you can use on pizzas, pasta, for stocks, things like that. So the first thing I need to do is blanch them to remove the skins. That's a pretty optional step. I do it because I want the skins, because I use them for tomato stock, which I'll show you how to do. But if you're not interested in that, you could probably just leave the skins on when you process them. But I'll show you that step, and then we'll go to the tomato sauce step from there. So this is the first step, and it's blanching tomatoes to remove their skin. I use my water bath canner basket, which works really well for me because I know that it can withstand boiling temperatures and it can fit loads of tomatoes in there. So I load it up, pop them into the hot water. These guys don't quite fit, but they'll hopefully get boiled enough. A lot of people score the bottom off them to make this process easier. I don't bother because I've got so many to do, it would just be an extra added time and effort. But you're leaving them to boil for about a minute. Then we'll take them out, pop them into very cold water, and that causes the skin to shrink. It splits and it makes it really easy to peel off and remove. So we'll leave them for a minute and then we'll come back and have a look at that. So after a minute boiling, I've pulled them out, popped them in a sink with very cold water, and the result is that the skins start to shrivel and start to pull off the flesh, and it makes it really easy, as you can see, just to pull them off. What I'm going to do now is remove all the skins of these, put them in this bowl, keep them separate for now, and then start processing the sauce. So we'll come back once I've done that. So about 10 minutes later, I've got a pretty huge blue tomatoes, peeled, didn't take too long. I've got peels still in a colander. The next stage for me with these is dehydrating them, so I prefer to leave them sitting in a colander for a little while just to let any excess water drain out. It didn't take long at all, that's literally 10 minutes for those. I run it like a bit of a production line. I have a bunch of tomatoes on the hob, another bunch of tomatoes chilling in the sink while I'm peeling the last bunch, and I just keep revolving like that. If you're using your sink, do keep refreshing the water. The tomatoes will heat up and you really want good cold water in here. Some people even chuck ice cubes in, but I find just a blast of cold water on top every now and then is enough to keep it cold enough for the skins to come off nicely. So these are going to get left to dry out a bit, and then later on, once I'm finished making my sauce, I'll be processing these, but we'll show you that at the end. So the next stage is our peeled tomatoes, and we're going to process them, and I'll show you that in a second. So this is the next stage. For processing my tomatoes, I use my food grinder attachment with the food strainer addition for my KitchenAid. I know a lot of stand mixers have these. I think the Kenwood has one. Alternatively, you can buy a tomato juicer or tomato strainer on Amazon. There's some really good ones, and I think they start about £20, so well worth it. You can use it for quite a lot of different things. So my tomatoes, I tend to just half them. You can quarter them, but halved, they will fit in. The more cutting you do, the more juice you're going to lose. You really want the juice in here, so I tend to just half them. And I start at about speed 4. And really simple. Tomatoes get shoved in. I do actually have a shovey thing, but I'm not sure where it is. Shove tomatoes in. They come out here. Any paste that's fine enough to fit through the sieve will come out, drop down here, and come out here as sauce. And that's the products we want for our sauce. Anything that doesn't, your seeds, your cores, is going to come out the end here, and you can put that in your compost. That's what I do with it. If you weren't processing the tomato skins for stock like I am, you could just leave your skins on, and the skins will come out here as well, and you can go right in your compost. So it's just a matter of keeping shoving them in until all these are done. Then we'll process all these, and then we'll process all these, and we should have quite a big bowl of tomato juice that we can start processing down to make our sauce. So I'm going to go on with these, and then I'll come back and show you the next stage. One thing I forgot to mention, I'll turn it off so you can hear me, this waste tomato paste that comes out, process it again, put it back in, you're going to get loads more juice out of that. This is the second time it's been through, and you can see it's still quite, I might even put it through a third time, until it feels really dry, and it really just wastes. There's still quite a lot of juice and fleshiness in there, and you really want that all out in your sauce. So this is just one batch, but don't wait to put it into your pot. Tomato sauce takes a lot of processing, a lot of cooking down. So start, I'm using my pressure canner, because it's the biggest pot I've got free just now. Start adding that right away and get on a low heat right away. It's got a lot of cooking down to do to thicken up, so you really want that going. So yeah, keep processing until all your tomatoes are in that pot cooking down, and then we can start adding flavours. So I'm going to get on with that, and I'll come back at that point. Alright, so that's all our tomatoes processed. I had a small accident resulting in glass and blood everywhere, so I had to chuck quite a bit of them away, and totally clear down the work area and start again. So I've not got quite as much sauce as I wanted, but you know, it's a big pot, we've got a lot of sauce. By the time it boils down and thickens up, hoping to get about 10 jars. So at this point you need to cook this down, get rid of all the water, it'll thicken up, and you'll be left with essentially tomato paste. You can either can it like this, preserve it like this, keep it like this, and then add flavour in as you use it to suit whatever you're using it for. But I use this for pasta and I use it for pizzas, so garlic and herb is really the flavour I'm going for. I'm not going to give you exact measurements, because it depends what type of tomatoes you use to how much paste you get them. It depends how many tomatoes you use, depends how much you cook them down, it can depend on your grinder. There's a lot of variables, and ultimately it just depends on your taste. One of the beauties of making homemade sauce is you can get exactly how you like it, so there's no point in me telling you. Add stuff little at a time, taste it, and see how you go. What I'm and what I'd recommend as a basic sauce is garlic. I like it garlicky, so I've got 12 garlic cloves here. I probably won't add them all at first. I'll probably add 3/4 of them and see how it tastes. I've got dried chilies that I've crushed up, various herbs, you know, sort of Italian herbs, basil, thyme, oregano, marjoram, sage and rosemary. I think that's it. I've got bay leaves from the garden, which I'll put in whole and they'll come back out again before I can it. Salt and sugar. So I'd say this is probably your basic Italian sort of tomato sauce flavouring to go with. But you can add really anything you like. So this all goes in now, and it gets left until it pretty much boils down to about 50% of its original volume. So that can take 3 hours, 4 hours, sometimes 5 hours. I've heard of people leaving these simmering overnight to thicken up, but it's worth it. It's worth it. So yeah, add your flavour in, leave it to simmer till you get down to the thickness you want it to be, and then we'll be moving on to canning. So I'll come back and show you that. Just wanted to quickly talk about the peels. There's not really much involvement about. There's not really much to do with preserving these. This is all the peels I got from all those tomatoes. It doesn't look like a lot, but once they're all flattened out, there's quite a lot there. And what I do is I just flatten them out a little bit. Sometimes you need to tear them a wee bit to get them flat, because obviously they're curved. Place them on my dehydrator. Mushy side down, like the fleshy side down at first. You can get quite a lot on each tray, but do leave space in between them. Don't solidly pack them, and don't layer them. Just get as many as you can, and the rest can go in the fridge. I put this on high because they're really wet, and I put it on high for maybe 4 or 5 hours, and then I put it down to medium, and I leave it on medium, usually for about 24 hours, but it totally depends. It totally depends on the tomatoes, just on sort of your ambient humidity and things like that. And then they're pretty much dried out. They'll shrivel up a lot. They'll lose a lot of size. and then I'll come back and I'll show you what we're going to do with them after that. Just back to check on these after about an hour and a half, I think, and they're coming along great. They're starting to turn really papery. Do remember to rotate your trays, which if you use a dehydrator a lot, you'll know to do anyway. But I go from the bottom to the top, so bring the bottom one up, stack it on top. I'll do that for the rest of the night. And these might actually be good to go. They've dried out really well. They were quite dry skins to start with. They didn't have a lot of flesh on them. They're starting to get really peppery. There's still little bits of fleshiness, and some of them are a wee bit flexible. I want them really crispy, really dry. But yeah, they're doing really well. That's just an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and they're already. Oops. They're already coming along really well. Yeah, see, like this, still got a bit of dry in it to do. It's still pretty moist, but yeah, getting there. But yeah, keep rotating and just keep an eye on them, and just finish them up when you think they're ready and when you think they're going to be able to break into a fine powder without too much work. But we'll come back and have a look at that stage when they're finished drying. So as you can see, our pasta sauce is now cooked right down at about 50%. This is the line where it originally was, and it's right down here now, so it's a lot thicker, a lot more intense, a lot tastier, which is what we want. I have had jars sterilising. I sterilised them by boiling them. I've got some more in here. I think you can also do it in the dishwasher, but I boil them. The next step is filling our jars up with most tomato products. If you're water bath canning, you're going to fill up and leave 1/2 inch headspace. The best way to measure that is with one of these headspacer tools. The headspace is quite important to making sure you get the right seal and the right vacuum in there. You can you measure that really just by popping that on and making sure you've got the right gap from the top. So fill up all your jars, leave 1 inch headspace, and then put lids on. Some people like to heat their lids up. Ball now don't recommend that, so I don't keep the lids up. So they get filled up just like that to the right amount. Lids on nice and tight, and then into the water bath canner. That then boils. Once it reaches boiling point, you want to process them for 30 minutes. That's at my elevation. If you're at quite high elevation, it might be slightly longer, but I will leave a link for a website where you can check things like that out. So yeah, in there for 35 minutes, and then I'll come back and show you what was after that. So one thing I forgot to mention was, once you're done filling up, before you put the lids on, do give the rim of your jar and around the threads a quick wipe. Make sure there's no debris. There shouldn't be if you've used your funnel, but it's best just to be sure. You can use a solution of vinegar and water just to wipe that down. So make sure it's very clean, because your cap has a rubber seal, and that really needs to sit tight against the top to get a good seal. What I'm doing is I'm going to water bath can about 3 at a time, because I don't have a particularly big pot. This is the pot I'm using, so normally I'd use this pot, but it's got the pasta sauce in it, so I'm using this one, and it's good to have about 3 at a time in there. Don't put your jars, when you tighten the lids as well, finger tight, don't over tighten them, don't really crank them on there. It just has to be finger tight. It's just to keep that lid there until the pressure seals it on. Don't put your jars right down on the bottom of the pot. You need either a rack in there, something like this, or for water bath canning, I like my little basket, or worst comes to worst, you can even just put a dish towel down in there, anything to keep it off the bottom. So jars straight in. And what you want when you're water bath canning is the water to be 1 inch, at least 1 inch over the top of the jars. So I need to add some water to this. So 1 inch over the top of the jars. I'll pop all this down and pop the lid on, bring it to boiling point, and then leave it to boil for 30 minutes. And then we'll come back and have a look after that. So that's the last of our jars finished processing. So just very gently lift them out. Don't tip them from side to side. It can quite tempting to tip that water off the top, but don't. It can cause siphoning, ruin your seal, and then you need to start again, which is quite frustrating. So that's them all processed. These ones have been out for a while and they have sealed. They you can tell they've sealed. The lids have popped down. you do hear them pop, pop, pop pinging, but do leave them for 12 to 24 hours. Minimum of 12 hours. When you bring them out, don't put them on a cold surface, particularly if you've got marble or stone worktops. The shock can cause the glass to crack. Either down on a cloth or a tea towel or a wood board, if you have one, is quite good because it protects your surfaces as well. So yeah, they just get left to sit. Then they'll be labelled. I will remove the rings. Some of them will be loose when you bring them out, but just leave them alone. That's absolutely fine. I'll remove the rings. I don't store with the rings on. They can create false seals. They can make it appear that the jar's sealed when it hasn't. If these jars aren't sealed, you want to know about it as quickly as possible, because you can start creating botulism and stuff inside here. You don't want that. You want to know if your jars aren't sealed, and keeping these rings on can make it seem like they're sealed. So after your 12 or 24 hours, remove your rings, label them, make sure you date them. These are shelf stable up to a year, but to be quite honest, they're probably shelf stable a hell of a lot longer than that. They never last that long around there. So if you've got any questions or anything else you want to know, just give me a shout. Hello, just wanted to quickly show you what I was going to do with my dried tomato skins. Now they're all dehydrated, they're really dry, they're like paper. I'm just using this, it's a coffee bean grinder. I use this quite a lot. This is quite handy. I dry out herbs from the garden when it's come to the end of the season, and then I use this to grind them up, and then I store them. So I'd recommend this. This is a handy thing to have, but today I'm using it with my tomato skins. So I just kind of fill up this, pop the lid on, and then I pulse it. I don't hold it down because it'll overheat. So yeah, you can see they're getting skin pepper. At this point I can add more. They do reduce in size and volume quite a lot once they're blended. So you can just add a bit more on top. And I keep going with that. Then I decant them into another jar. This is probably 4 or 5 grinders worth in here. It really reduces down a lot. I mean, you could store them like this, but this takes up so much less space, as you can see. So that was two grinder fills, and you can see it's practically empty. So yeah, just keep pulsing it until it's powder. Pop it in the jar, again, label, date it, store it. It's great for soups, stocks. I've even heard of people making ketchups and stuff with it, but I've not tried that myself, but it's a great flavour enhancer. So yeah, another way to use up something that would normally be wasted, or composted at least. Give it a try, let me know how you get on.